So I just got out of the theaters, and I wanted to talk about the fact that actually saw a good movie. I wasn't gonna go see Fantastic Four: First Steps. I really was. For a while, I kept looking at it and I said, "Oh, this is gonna be cringe. Are they woking this? Are they covering up for the wokiness by giving it the the novelty of like the retro futurism?" But they're gonna fucking phone a whole bunch of shit in. I keep hearing about how Pedro Pascal's gonna be shoved down our throat, how they made Sue Storm into some sort of fucking denigrating girl boss or something like that. All these little things, and of course, you know, the Silver Surferess, right? Like Silver Surfer lady Silver Surfer, the Silver Surface. That sounds kind of like the right way to say it. The Surferess, the Surfer and the Surferess. But at any rate, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this movie is refusing to do anything horrible. It's refusing to, and it's doing a good job. Like, I was surprised. Okay, so none of this girl boss shit was in the film. Like, I've heard that they scrambled, like, if this movie was looking like a fucking disaster, then they found a fucking miracle worker, because this movie was cool. It was actually, like, it felt good. It felt like somebody was making sense at putting a thing together and made it actually awesome. I like this film. Pedro Pascal, like everything that's going on was perfectly normal. Like this, okay, that's the way Reed Richards is, the way he overthinks and worries and yada yada yada, and Sue this way and Thing that way, and like, so characters are nailed. You know, Silver Surfer, because the Silver Surfer's backstory, the gender is irrelevant to everything that else that makes the Silver Surfer the Silver Surfer. That you can play with it that much, as long as you don't fucking sit there and be all fucking feminist about it. And they weren't. It was just, she just did the job as is. I'm like, okay, right? Nobody's trying to say, oh, because of this, like the agenda was not in the story. And so it allowed me to enter into the escapism of the world. We finally see Galactus done right. Like, I really didn't know what the heck they were gonna do with it. I thought they were gonna give us some sort of hokey science to like explain, like, oh, Galactus gets bigger and smaller or something like that. One thing I thought was fucking cool was there was a fight with Galactus, and Reed Richards has a big ass spear, and he's scaling Galactus to fucking like hit him in some soft spot. I'm like, they just went, they totally just went Shadow of the Colossus. It was good. It was fucking, it's just like, I want to see Shadow of the Colossus movie while watching that sequence. That was pretty cool. So anyway, no, like, you know, because they got his ship that does all the devouring, and then all that energy gets fed into him and all that. Like, no, they did it right, because I thought they were just going to give us this tiny ass Galactus. Relax, man, there's cars in front of everybody. I thought they were going to give us this tiny ass Galactus that then, because of fantasy physics, goes out into space and gets bigger, which would be complete bullshit when you're asking this to be a scientist superhero thing. All the science has to make fucking sense. right? Um, and so we're going to see all sorts of interesting things. They set up Avengers Doomsday in it. Um, yeah. So, did this movie have any good soft disclosure of any sort? Well, the movie gives us this view of society where there are not extremely poor people. Nobody is extremely poor in this version of the universe, right? And because they've, just like in the comics, the Richards, like Iron Man, Tony Stark does in the regular MCU, Richards and his level of technology is like planet-wide. So the whole planet is like a hair below Type 1 civilization. A hair, like, they're kind of inching towards Type 1 civilization. Trying to deal with Galactus is like a Type 1 civilizational awareness concept in that respect. There's a lot to be analyzed here. You've got the whole because this movie gave us Franklin Richards, we decided to go straight into a Chosen One plot, right? Because Franklin Richards is going to be like Franklin Richards in the comics is like I don't know the Franklin Richards stories, but I know the story. I don't know them, like I haven't read the comics on Franklin Richards, but I've listened to all the fucking people that have. And Franklin Richards is a demigod. He's fucking ridiculous. And so, you're gonna have like that, Franklin Richards, you can't do Baby Yoda because the film jumps ahead 4 years at the end. So you can't do Baby Yoda, but you do have him as a very small child, and thus far his abilities are not activated. Other than possibly something about saving Sue's life, they leave, like, you can't tell, okay, Sue was definitely dead, and then they put Franklin on Sue to say goodbye, and then Franklin's just on Sue. You don't see any energy, you don't see anything. She's just laying there limp, and then all of a sudden her fingers start twitching, right? So like they're trying to imply that some subtle energy being in contact with Franklin raised Sue from the dead under those conditions that killed her. Which, I don't know exactly how powerful Franklin is, but I could see that as being very simple, because she died because she overexpended her energy. And so Franklin can just give her fucking energy, right? But we have no idea what happened. It could have been as simple as mother's contact with the baby for that long, so freshly, you're technically not dead, but the body is, because if you're not breathing for a certain period of time, you have a few minutes before there is brain damage from suffocation, right? Because you're not getting enough oxygen past the blood-brain barrier to sustain normal cognitive function. And these breakdowns are explained in certain processes understood in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And how your mind begins to process things as you lie in state of death, at the threshold and just after the threshold. Because once you're dead, the Tibetan Book of the Dead does physiologically acknowledge that there's a relationship between your brain, your just recently living tissue is still plasmatically disconnecting from the physical, right? This is that very short window before collection, right? Because eventually your psychopomp needs to show up. And depending on a lot of things, I mean, most likely you're gonna go hit the Wheel of Sunsar. I expect it. All these people are so arrogant that they think they're going to, that they've escaped the Wheel of Sunsara, right? And it's just like, you got no fucking idea. You have no fucking idea if the things that you know and the things that you've done have properly changed the energetic state of your soul in relation to its connection to the higher force in the higher self, has reached that special place from before the inversions. And I certainly believe that as long as we live in a world with an axial tilt, that we are most likely going to have to endure the way that this all works. And even with the axial tilt, we still had a reincarnation cycle in the paradise time because there was still death. Now, I don't know if there were a whole lot of carnivores per se on the planet, because perhaps the energy was so wild that carnivores didn't have to be carnivores, right? Like this idea, because if it's physiologically true that in the paradise time we didn't need to eat meat at all, then perhaps it's true that neither did the lion, unless the lion came from somewhere after the tilt. It all depends on what you think is going on with Lyrans, and why does Yaldabaoth look like a dragon with a lion's head, etc., etc. So, anyway. There are some irritating scientisms. The film definitely wants to represent a kind of scientism. It's just like, oh, what's Franklin's favorite book when he's 4 years old? Oh, it's Charles Darwin's Theory of fucking Evolution. I don't care how smart you are. If your intelligence is within the narrow veil of how you are groomed by the people around you, then your intelligence can be used for tremendous evil just by guiding and directing your perception of reality and the influence on your personal moral compass. So, it's not clear precisely where the movie will go with things. Excuse me. I wouldn't say... I'd say that this can set up a lot of really good soft disclosure. But for the most part, it was a great adaptation of the familiarity of classic Fantastic Four in a manner which is going to cohesively work when it merges with the mainline MCU, which I can have many an idea of how that's meant to work, which that's not really important, right? Because like I'm not here for like cultivation of movie fans, right? But I am here for a cultivation of esoteric minded people that like movies also. Because there's a lot that we learn um, through what gets introduced to us in film, whether it be two concepts that we know and merging them together, revelation of certain things, right? So there's a potential that I am hopeful for because this was a success. Um, hopefully it's financially a success. I'd be upset if people didn't spread the word around and said, yeah, Fantastic Four. They didn't fuck it up, guys. It's good, right? Like, doesn't have to be fucking amazing, right? Um, nobody wants you to play it safe, but nobody wants you to fucking um, burn the house down either. And look, the arts matter. They're a reflection of what's going on in our subconscious psyche. Um, there's a great deal of potential for a good film to have a powerful effect. A lot of films did. Like, we all know the effect The Matrix had on our perception of reality. It's still panning itself out now. We're seeing the effect The Lord of the Rings has had in Star Wars, right? We've seen the effect of zombie movies, and you know, it's like to live through these times is to live through the reality of all these things. You know, it's like less and less people are forgetting things nowadays, right? There's a crew of people that, thanks to the internet, through networking, people can keep a relevant and important memory alive within a circle of conversation. And if you can take the conversation as a whole and elevate the conversation, it keeps these things they're trying to suppress from dying. And it takes time to see the new dawn rising. And we also have to know that there's a false dawn that wants to rise because the enemy worships the black sun and they want to disguise the black sun as the gold sun that we know. The gold sun that mysteriously changes its hue from time to time. So, hopefully, we can find enough uh, turnaround, right? I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like, how is Hollywood supposed to fucking make a film properly? Like, they're in the middle of filming these things while the state of California, their base of operation, the psychic center of the culture of the filmmaker, the the center of the Hollywood druid craft of our sacred art of the theater. It's okay. It's okay that these things have a deep fucking meaning to us. You know, we have a certain freedom where we fight over that stage. My presentation belongs here. Your presentation belongs here, right? That's that's the temple, right? That's the whole second temple issue. That's part of why I wanted to read the Jewish War for you. To give you this demonstration. Because you're taking the 2D conceptual of of the mythos of a certain religion, and that mythos specifically tied into ritual magic, right? And Fantastic Four can do the same thing. One of the bits, actually, which this actually maybe this was it. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what happens in the film right here. Okay, they have to set up these triple obelisks that are gonna draw the entire planet's energy for 30 some odd seconds, specifically 37 seconds. Interesting that they picked 37 in a row, 37 seconds in a row. Yes, it was in a row because it was a countdown. So anyways, I have 37 seconds that this portal stays open. It's to make a portal that swallows the whole Earth and teleports the Earth to an undisclosed location. And Galactus, it would take Galactus millions of years to find the Earth in its new spot in the universe, because he finally finished mastering his portal technology, which is going to obviously tie into how he gets into Avengers Doomsday. So they have to turn on all these portals, and one of the portals is next to the pyramids of Giza. The other one is over in like another city. Like most of them are not in just like random ass places. Some of them, well, it does look like random ass places, but then you also notice, well, significant land, and film is going to do that. They like to do this grandiosity thing where you feel like the depth of it. There's the pyramids of Giza, and then here's this great structure, right? And the structure is like the height of the Pyramid of Giza, which is about the height of Galactus, right? And so where they laid these triple obelisks to create their portals as a field around the Earth was the original idea. But it got thwarted. Those could be, they could be doing a ley line thing. So that honestly is kind of like soft disclosure. Yeah, it is. No, it is. It is. Yeah, it's the all right. I think we're looking at something that you could flip that polarity, right? You could make that, it could teleport the Earth, you could make it a defense field, or you could make it a soul trap. The House of the Net, right? So the soul trap is an aspect of the dark sorcery going on. The technomancers are trying to do shit with HAARP so they can control this border. The House of the Net. I mean, you'll see traces of it in the fourth dimension, right? When you're piercing the veil into the paranormal, parallel to our side, and then once you're rocking in the fifth veil is pretty much where the House of the Net is. I said veil, I meant dimension. there's there's nine veils of consciousness, and then there's also, I think, about 12 dimensions of reality in play. I think it's about 12, maybe 13, 12 or 13. Um, Nine being the most important to master first, but taking baby steps, because I think most of you that listen to me long enough that you're past the first veil, because I've helped you see past the first veil, which is why it's great having the loyalty of you who've been with me for years. Um, and I only apologize to many people I may have disappointed because I never stepped up my game. But I was always torn between this and making music. And, man, the feeling, the feeling of complete irrelatability, that if I open my mouth a certain way, the appearance of arrogance, because so many levels of what people don't know. And so you just have to sit there and let them have their really, really wrong grievances. They're completely misplaced grievances. Things to grieve about that are related to the suffering you're looking at, but you don't got it right. And it hurts. It hurts. It hurts my mind to keep cool about it. But it's the Beyonder effect. That's what it is. It's the Beyonder effect. When you're on this wavelength, after a certain period of time, um, you realize how much easier it is to handle it all, right? It's like you have to keep pace with Fenrir. All right? All these horrible things we go on and on about, you have to understand your tier, right? You're complaining that the wolf bit your hand, right? You're complaining about it instead of doing what you did the job for, because just like Odin's eye sits in the well of Erd, the well of Mimir. So does Tyr's hand in the abyss of the wolf. And you have a subtle influence of power that your presence in a situation can nullify the black magic. As long as you are noticing it, you are understanding it, you are being ultra perceptive in it, like the Havamal. The Havamal gives you all the guides to do this kind of thing. If you want to fucking beat Loki, and whatever fraction of that Jotun, of the original pre-anti-gods idea of the trickster spirit, that hopes that you learn a lesson. If you listen to Odin, you'll beat Loki. But you test your luck at the same time. So, it's not even the most guaranteed of things. Because that's the first guarantee with Loki, is that nobody can guarantee anything. You are neither safe engaging him or not engaging him. Right? And this is why we console Heimdall, who is always looking out for Loki, but Loki slips through the cracks anyway. And also, from time to time, people like Loki. And if you can't really articulate that he's done anything wrong, as some context of mythos explains, because of chronology of events, the building of his notoriety as such, especially in the linear context of the entire Death of Balder arc, through Ragnarok if you want. Anyway, I'm rambling on about things, and it's no longer about the Fantastic Four. Thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you guys later.